So in this lecture, now we are going to be discuss about detection and measurement of radioactivity. Okay. So we know that radioactive elements emits the radiations. Which radiations? Alpha radiations, beta radiations, and gamma radiations. Alpha particles carry +2 unit positive charge, 4 unit mass. Penetrating power of the alpha particle is less. Ionizing ability of the alpha particle, it is higher. The velocity of the alpha particle, it is less than that of the velocity of the light. Then beta particles, it is higher, it is having higher penetrating power than alpha particles. But ionizing ability of the beta particle, it is comparatively less than the alpha particles. Beta particles carry negative charge. They are negatively charged particles. And gamma rays, they are not having any type of the charge, positive or negative. They are chargeless and massless radiations. And gamma rays are also the electromagnetic radiations. So let us see now types and characteristics of nuclear radiations and behavior of ion pairs in electric field. Measurement of radioactivity. This is related to the measurement of radioactivity. How we can measure the radioactivity of the element? The elements are radioactive, but how we can measure the radioactivity of that elements? So it is based on the characteristics of nuclear radiations and behavior of ion pairs in electric field. Okay, so you can see nuclear radiations are 3 types already known to us. These radiations produces ion pairs when passed through any inert gas. That is the very important property of the nuclear radiations. The nuclear radiations, when they are passes through the any inert gas, then they are producing the ion pairs. They are producing the ion pairs. Okay. Now the ion pairs migrate toward the electrodes of opposite charges, get discharged and produces current. And from the magnitude of the current, the type of the ionization can be detected. Okay. Ion pairs are produced here. Suppose that we take argon gas. Then argon positively charged an electron. So this is called as ion pair. So such ion pairs are produced by the nuclear radiations. Okay. So these radiations produces the ion pairs when passed through any inert gas. Now, in the presence of the electric field or in the presence of the applied field, applied potential, in the presence of the applied potential, what happens? These ion pairs migrate toward the electrodes. They are moving toward the electrodes. The positively charged ion that is moving toward the negative electrode, and negatively charged electrons that is moving toward the positive electron. So migration of these ion pairs will be takes place in presence of the applied potential or in presence of the electric field. It means that they are getting discharged in presence of the electric field. Okay, they are going to be migrated in presence of the electric field, and they produce the current. These ion pairs produces the current. If the number of the ion pairs which are formed is in greater number, then the intensity of the current it is also greater. So let us show this by diagrammatically. You can see now. Now let us consider the ionization chamber, because in this case ionization process it is takes place. So consider the ionization chamber where the inert gas it is taken. Inert gas it is taken, and this ionization chamber it is supposed to be connected with anode and cathode. Anode and cathode. Suppose that this cylindrical tube, it is made up of copper material. Then itself it is acts as a cathode. It is made up of copper material, made up of copper, and this is the anode, and it is connected to the power supply here to supply the electricity. So suppose that this is the power supply here. Okay, it is the power supply because we have to apply the electric field, applied potential. So this is power supply. Now this is the anode here. Now the source emits the radiation, and when that radiations are entered into this cylindrical tube, this cylindrical tube, it is filled with the inert gas. Suppose argon. Argon inert gas is there. What happens? These nuclear radiation, suppose that alpha particles or beta particles entered into this cylindrical tube. When they travels in this medium, they produces the ion pairs like this. Argon positively charged and electrons are produced here. Such a number of ion pairs are formed in the cylindrical tube. Okay, whenever the alpha particles are travels in the medium, they are going to be produces such ion pairs. Okay, now in presence of the applied electric field, we can supply the electric field with the help of this power supply. What happens? In presence of the electric field, the positively charged argon, it is migrated towards the cathode. This is cathode. And negatively charged electron, it is migrated towards the anode. So therefore current it is produced here. Current it is produced here. Current is produced and current it is measured here. Current is measured here. Suppose that electrometer is connected to this device. Then current it is measured. And whatever the strength of the current, whatever the strength of the current, according to that, the number of radiations which are emitted from the material that can be counted. Okay, suppose that number of the radiations which are emitted by the source within 1 minute, it is larger number, then number of ion pairs will be produced is in larger number. So current strength will be larger. So the current strength, it is totally depends upon the number of the ion pairs which are formed here. Okay, so this is the principle involved in the measurement of the radioactivity. Okay, this is the principle involved in the measurement of the radioactivity. Okay, so in this way radioactivity can be measured. Number of radiations which are emitted by the sample, this can be counted with the help of this ionization chamber. So let us see now. So for this purpose, the Geiger Muller counter and scintillation counter are used for counting the number of particles emitted by a radio element. The two devices are given: Geiger Muller counter and scintillation counter. These two devices can be used, okay, to measure the radioactivity of that radio element. We are talking about measurement of radioactivity of the radioactive element. So let us going to be discussed first the Geiger Muller counter. This is the instrument, Geiger Muller counter. Okay, so Geiger Muller counter, you can see here Geiger Muller counter. So when ionization chamber has a potential between copper cylinder and tungsten wire, copper cylindrical tube, it is acts as a cathode here. Okay, copper cylindrical tube, it is acts as a cathode, and tungsten wire, it is fitted into that tube, it is acts as an anode. And the applied potential, it is very high, 900 to 1400 volts. So this much higher potential is required to perform this experiment. Okay, the internal application is as high, 10⁸, and number of ion pairs produced is independent of primary ionization. So this is the principle involved in this method. Okay, so I would like to show the diagram belongs to this Geiger Muller counter. You can see here the Geiger Muller counter. This is the diagram belongs to the Geiger Muller counter. So the Geiger Muller counter consists of a copper cylindrical tube So this is the copper cylindrical tube. Okay, it is made up of copper material and itself acts as a cathode. And the tungsten wire, it is insulated in this copper cylindrical tube. And this copper cylindrical tube and tungsten wire, it is connected to the power supply because we require here very high voltage. Okay, high voltage we require here. Then this is the copper cylindrical tube. It is having mica window because through this mica window the alpha particles can penetrate. Okay, here some window is given that is made up of mica window, mica material, because alpha particles can be entered through this. Now this is the radioactive sample, radioactive material which emits the radiation. Lead block, it is used where the alpha particles on other sides, the nuclear radiations on other sides cannot be emitted. Only they can go straight. Travel of the alpha particles should be in straight direction. Okay, they can be entered into this copper cylindrical tube through this mica window. Okay, so once again you can see here copper cylindrical tube, which is acts as a cathode. Cathode, it carries the negative charge, and tungsten wire, it acts as a anode, which carry the positive charge. Anode, it is a positively charged. Both cathode and anode are connected to the power supply because we require here higher voltage. Okay, this radioactive sample emits the radiations. They can be entered into this copper cylindrical tube through this mica window. And this lead block, it is used for the protection purpose, means these radiations cannot be emitted in other sides. Okay, so let us see here. So the Geiger Muller counter consists of a copper cylindrical tube which acts as a cathode. The length of the copper cylindrical tube, it is given 10 centimeter. Okay, and diameter it is 2 centimeter with a thin mica window at one end. A fine tungsten wire, it is fitted there, that is shown in the diagram. The thickness of that tungsten wire, it is 0.05 millimeter, which acts as a anode and is suspended at the center of the cylinder. The tungsten wire, it is insulated from the copper cylinder. The cylinder is filled with 90% argon and 10% ethanol or bromine vapors. This cylinder, it is filled with 90% argon, that is argon gas, 90% argon and 10% ethyl alcohol vapor. 90% argon and 10% ethyl alcohol vapor. Okay, ethyl alcohol vapor. So you can see here, argon provides ion pairs. What is the function of the argon gas? It produces the ion pairs, while ethanol or bromine vapors acts as a quenching agent. Later on, I told you what is the meaning of the quenching agent. What is the function of the ethanol? The mica window prevents the escape of the gases from the copper cylinder. This mica window prevents the escape of the gases from the copper cylinder. The argon gas cannot be escaped from this mica window, but the alpha radiations, beta radiations can be entered into this copper cylindrical tube. Okay, so this is the construction of the Geiger Muller counter. Construction of the Geiger Muller counter. Now you can see here the ion pairs are produced. Okay, so let us see the working of the Geiger Muller counter. When ionizing radiations, that is alpha and beta particles, enter the copper cylindrical tube through the mica window, they ionize the argon atoms and releasing electrons. Okay, when these nuclear radiations entered, into this copper cylindrical tube, they produces the ion pairs. Okay, because they strike onto the material. So when they strike onto the argon gas, argon gas get ionizes and such ion pairs are produced here. Number of ion pairs are produced here in the copper cylindrical tube. Whenever the nuclear radiations are travel up to that, the ion pairs are produced. So nuclear radiations produces the ion pairs. Later on, what happens? In presence of the applied potential, in presence of the applied voltage, the electrons are accelerated towards the central tungsten wire, which is acts as an anode. This tungsten wire, it is acts as an anode. Electrons carry the negative charge, so they are supposed to be accelerated towards this tungsten wire. And this argon positively charged ion being accelerated toward the copper cylindrical tube, copper tube itself, it acts as a cathode. In this way, current it is produced. Because ion pairs are migrated towards the respective electrodes. The positive ions migrate towards the walls of the tube, that is copper tube, and accept the negative charge from the walls of the copper cylinder and get discharged at the walls of the copper cylinder. Okay, that argon ion get discharged at the copper cylinder, means its charge will be destroyed there, and the fast moving electrons reach the anode. Okay, if you see here, electrons it is having the faster speed as compared to this positively charged argon ion. As compared to the positively charged argon ion, these electrons are having the faster speed. Electrons are having the faster speed, and these positively charged argon ions, it is having the slow speed because they are heavy, so their velocity will be less. Okay, so they are reaches to the respective electrodes. Electrons reaches to the anode, and argon positively charged ion are reaches to the cathode. So you can see here, the fast moving electrons reach the anode in a very short time. These high energy particles bring about more ionization, and secondary ion pairs are formed. Okay, they are producing the secondary ion pairs here. The secondary electrons cause further ionization, and all the electrons produced get discharged at anode and register the current that is independent of ionizing radiation. In this case, what happens? As we apply the applied potential, suppose that initially the applied potential, it will be lower, 50 volt. 50 volt applied potential is there. We can increasing the power supply here. Okay, so when the applied potential it is around 50 volt, what happens here? The argon reaches, argon positive charge reaches to this cathode, and electrons are reaches to the anode, and current strength will be registered. Current will be increases. We can show this graphically also. If we plot the graph of current I versus the applied potential E, applied potential or applied voltage. So initially, if the applied potential it is suppose 50, 100, 200, 400, 800, then 900, like that. Okay, up to 1500. So we are increasing the applied potential here. So up at the 50 volt applied potential, current it is steadily increases. Current will be steadily increases because the positively charged ion reaches to the cathode and electrons are reaches to the anode. Current will be produced here. But when we are increasing the applied potential here, suppose 1000 volt, 2000 volt, okay, this Geiger Muller counter works in this range, 900 to 1400 volt. So we should have to keep this much higher potential here. Okay, very high potential it is required for the working of the Geiger Muller counter. and step by step we are going to increase the applied potential. Okay, so when we are increasing the applied potential, what happens? The electrons which are here, that electrons becomes energetic electrons, and due to this higher voltage, these electrons further produces the ion pairs. Initially the ion pairs are produced by these nuclear radiations, alpha particles or beta particles, but now later on the ion pairs are produced by these electrons, because electrons becomes energetic under this higher supply of the power, higher supply of the applied potential. The kinetic energy of the electrons becomes increases, and due to that, that electrons strike onto the argon and they are producing the ion pairs. Now these ion pairs are produced, called as a secondary ion pairs. They are called as a secondary ion pairs. Okay, so in this way, number of the ion pairs are increases here. Number of ion pairs are increases here, and also the current strength will be increases, as we are going to be increases the applied potential. So current strength will be increases here, because number of the ion pairs are increases. These electrons are becomes more and more energetic, and they are produces the secondary ionization. These nuclear radiations produces the primary ionization. Okay, once they produces the primary ionization, later on the secondary ionization, it is bring by these energetic electrons, and these electrons becomes energetic because of due to this higher applied potential. So in presence of the higher applied potential, these electrons becomes very energetic. Their kinetic energy will be increases, and due to the increase in the kinetic energy, these electrons can bring further the ionization of the argon gas, and due to that, more ion pairs are formed here. So current strength, it is also increases. Okay, so and that current strength now, it is independent of the ionizing radiation, because that current strength, it is not according to the ionizing radiations, it is not according to the nuclear radiations. Okay, now the current, it is amplified and registered as a count. Amplified means the current strength becomes increases here. Okay, initially the current strength, it is very short. The current produced by the ion pairs becomes very less, but later on the current strength will be increases. It is amplified, and that can be registered as a count. Okay, so the counts per minute CPM for a given source known as the experimental counts are recorded. Okay, and the digital display of the GM counter shows this reading. Okay, so try to understand about this. Now the same process is repeated in the absence of the source also, and some background counts because of the cosmic rays or presence of minute quantities of radioactive gases like radon in the atmosphere are recorded with mechanical register or digital display unit of the GM counter. Okay, whenever the source, it is not emitting the radiation, or in the absence of the source also, inside in the copper cylindrical tube, as we increase the applied potential, there are some in the radon gases are present there, cosmic rays are present there, and they are also showing some count. So actual count, it is equal to experimental count, means this is our experimental reading by the nuclear radiation, and this is our background counts in absence of the source. And from actual counts, the number of the particles emitted by the radioactive elements can be determined, because actual counts are important here. Okay, so in this Geiger Muller counter, the current strength will be registered, number of counts will be registered. So now in this case, what happens? The heavy positive ions moves towards the cathode at a slow rate. You can see the heavy positive ions, we know that argon positive ions are heavy, so they are reaches in the slower time, and electrons are reaches in the faster time. So if the electrons are reaches, positive ions are not reaches, then the Geiger Muller counter, it is incapable of responding the ionizing radiation. second ionizing event, and that is called as a dead time of the GM counter. That is called as a dead time of the GM counter. The fast moving electrons reach the anode in a very short time. These high energy particles bring about more ionization. Secondary ion pairs are produced. That is known to us. Secondary electrons further cause the ionization. All the electron produced get discharged at anode and registered as a current that is independent of ionization. The heavy positive ions moves toward the cathode at a slow rate, and there exists a sheath of positive ions in the vicinity of the anode. Sheath of positive ions. Positive ions are gathered there in the vicinity of the anode. As a result, the field strength is reduced, the counter becomes incapable or ineffective, and second pulse cannot be recorded. Means the Geiger-Muller counter can be stopped there. It cannot show any reading. Geiger-Muller counter can be stopped there. It cannot show any reading. The time during which the counter is incapable of responding to a second ionizing event, it is called as a dead time of the GM counter. Why this dead time will be arises? Because the positively charged ions reaches very slowly to the cathode, and electrons are reaches in a faster time. So the second ionizing event, it is not responding, and that is called as a dead time of the GM counter. After certain time lapse, the sheath of the positive ions moves over the cathode, and the counter is again able to resume. It is again able to working, and current pulse can be recorded. Now, in this case, what is the function of the ethyl alcohol vapor? The ethyl alcohol vapor prevent the second avalanche. Large number of the ion pairs which are formed here, that large number of the ion pairs can be stopped by the ethyl alcohol vapors, which may be generated due to the photoelectrons. Now, in this case, the photoelectrons are also emitted by the action of the photons on the walls of the copper cylindrical tube. The photons are produced there because electrons are very energetic, and these electrons are producing the photons, and these photons are very dangerous here, because these photons are emitted when positive ions and electrons get combined. Okay, so the function of the ethyl alcohol vapor to prevent the second avalanche. So in this way, this Geiger-Muller counter is working. So in this case, we can record the current pulse as the number of the ion pairs are produced due to the nuclear radiation, and that nuclear radiations are produces the number of the ion pairs, and that ion pairs register the current, produces the current, and that current can be registered by the Geiger-Muller counter. So we can measure the current, we can plot the graph of current versus the applied potential, and the Geiger-Muller counter will shows the reading. Okay, so this is about the working of the Geiger-Muller counter. This is about the working of the Geiger-Muller counter. We can